Welcome back. Now, following the outbreak of coronavirus in Namibia on the 13th of March 2020, President Hage Geingob declared a state of emergency on account of COVID-19 as a natural disaster from the 17th of March 2020. The National Assembly supported the extension of the COVID-19 state of emergency for a period of 6 months, which lapped at midnight last night. With an analysis on this, I'm now joined by Economist Mally Likukela. Mally, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on GMN.
Good morning, Nina. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Mally. Now, just to start with, Mally, let's talk about what you made of this 6-month-long state of emergency period. What picture has this period painted for, a young economy such as Namibia's?
Yes, Nina. The past 6 months was one of the most difficult months in the history of Namibia. And as you rightly said, Namibia is a young, a very small economy. And so 6 months of a hardship like this really transformed and changed the whole economy. Now, what we have seen is that there are a number of weaknesses and deficiencies that were hidden, which COVID came to expose. And it is really through this process of trying to manage the impact that these lessons came out. In a nutshell, the Namibian economy, young as it is, it has displayed resilience to withstand some of the most difficult shocks. However, we have seen a number of issues that came up, losses in jobs, income. We have seen that for a very long time we have relied very much on the international world, and this was not desirable, this was not conducive. But so many lessons that have come up, I am sure and hopefully that the leaders will take this into consideration, that next time there is something of this nature, we are better prepared to withstand it. What I just want to mention is that there are 3 very important things that we are going to see coming following the 6 months of lockdown. Number one, the revenues that government has been deriving from companies, profit, income tax, and stuff like that will decline. And this will have a major impact on the national budget. And as you know, the structure of the economy is that the government plays a bigger role in the economy. And so to have their revenue declining in this magnitude, it is going to really put a lot of tremendous pressure on the entire economy. And the other thing that we have also seen, which we are going to see coming out, is that amplification of the negative outlook, as have already identified or indicated by the rating agencies before COVID. So what we are going to see is this lockdown, the 6 months, have amplified the negative outlook. And so government and the business sector have really to work together to try and transform and change this outlook. The last thing that we are going to see is the large borrowing from the public sector. We have already government approaching the IMF. We have had loans from the ADB. We are going to see a continuation of massive accumulation of debt, which we are really definitely need, but sustainability of repaying debt in the near future remains a concern.
So quite a few consequences that we will see unfold due to this 6-month lockdown that we had. And as you rightfully said, lots of sectors have been impacted. One of them obviously tremendously impacted was the tourism sector. How much do you think, Mally, it will take for us to see this sector be revived and come back to life? And how long will it take?
Nina, to really understand the impact of COVID on the tourism sector, we need to understand and unpack the sector in detail. Briefly though, this is the sector we are talking about as what is one of the most important sectors in our economy. In 2020, we were expecting 1.9 million tourists coming to Namibia. This is the sector where we have 1,600 tour guides and tour operators. We have over 3,000 lodges. We have over 120,000 people indirectly employed in this sector, of which 60,000 are full-time. Put this together, this gives you a sector which contributes 26 billion to the entire GDP. Now, what does this mean? What this means is 1 day of standstill of this sector makes you to lose 70 million. Now, 70 million per day of this sector standing idle it's quite massive. We are looking at 26 people here at risk. So what COVID has come to do is to put the entire sector at risk. We have seen the sector completely shutting down because of the international lockdown. So it's quite a number of interventions to bring the sector to life. We cannot really say by next year we will be up and running because the damage to the sector is quite massive and huge. It would really need an entire year of putting together pieces, bits and pieces, and reorienting the whole industry. My view is that Namibia, the lesson that we should have learned from this is that let's begin to support our own local industry. We ourselves are responsible for the growth of this industry. We are not saying that COVID will be the last of its time. We might experience another crisis again very soon. What will we do if we do not prepare and position ourselves to support this industry, which contributes so massively to the entire economy, Nina?
Yesterday, the minister sounded quite optimistic by saying that, the economy is likely to recover depending on how the world will treat this pandemic. What is your take on that?
Nina, the recovery is in two modes. The recovery on the paper might begin to appear next year, but that is on the paper, Nina. The real recovery is when we see the livelihood of people going back to normal. That, in my view, will not happen very, very soon. We have seen the GDP numbers coming up with huge expansion, but that expansion has not translated to the real situation on the ground. Even in this particular instance, we might project that the economy will begin to register positive growth next year. But this positive growth will be on the paper only. It will not be appearing in the lives of people. And so my concern and my worry is if we are going to put too much emphasis on the numbers that are most likely to come up next year, we might lose a lot of people's livelihood because these numbers will be on the paper. Of course, the IMF have projected that the world will begin to grow next year, but then again, the way things are on the paper is definitely different from the real situation on the ground. And we know it. Namibia is one of the countries where the gap between the have and have not is so huge. So relying only on the GDP number will rob you of the clear picture of what is really on the ground. So in my view, I am saying that even though next year we are going to begin to see positive numbers coming out of GDP, that might not be the true reflection of what is on the ground. The damage that COVID has done to Namibia is quite massive, Nina, and I expect it to be taken into consideration when we begin the recovery plan. Because in my view, where I'm sitting, it's not going to take 2 or 3 years. It's going to be longer than that because people's lives have been affected and balance sheet really, really damaged.
So given the circumstances, Mally, what would you say, what are the industries that Namibia needs to focus on right now to sort of boost the economy?
Well, number one, obviously, the industry that we can really call our very, very own is the agriculture sector. I'm saying this because agriculture sector is twofold. While you can make money by selling your commodity, agriculture sector secures your food security. And for me, right now, what people really need is food security. Agriculture sector, besides the drought that we have experienced, is able to employ a lot of people and sustain livelihood. That's number one. Number two, government can intervene and support the economy to recover by focusing some investment, especially in the infrastructure service. This is where government can make quick wins because with construction, you require a lot of labor on the site and you are getting paid cash, and this can really influence and impact the economy quite fast and quite urgently. We need a sector that has got a multiplier effect, sector like housing, construction of roads, and agriculture. This can bring you quick wins. Of course, we can also still do something about the tourism sector, but remember, the tourism sector relies on the appetite of the international world. Now, at this point in time, luxury is the last thing on people's mind. For them to think of coming to Namibia for holiday in the midst of a crisis like this, that will be secondary. We have seen ever since we opened our borders, the numbers that are coming in from tourists minimal. I'm not saying that we're going to go back to where we were, but it might take a bit longer. So right now, we need to focus on the industry that we can control from within. And government can directly impact this industry for us to get on a growth path soon enough.
Mally, any final remarks from you this morning?
Well, the only thing that I can say to my fellow Namibians is that in as much as the president has opened has loosened the restriction, it doesn't mean that the threat is over. We are still in a war. We still need to maintain a health protocol because the risk of a second wave is so much real because we have seen this happening elsewhere. So, my fellow people, Namibians, let's continue to look after ourselves. Let's continue to look after because the threat and the risk is still real, Nina.
Mally, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for joining us. Local economist speaking to us this morning on the president's address that he gave yesterday, informing the nation that the 6-month state of emergency has been lifted. We'll be right back after the short break. Stay with us.